It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Oh, let's review.
We'll analyze the scene
Sounds holly jolly to me.
before it's over. Let's begin.
Bum.
Um,
That's right, folks. Since the Christmas season is upon us, we thought the way to celebrate and get into the holiday spirit would be with some holiday reviews.
12 to be exact. Decoratively divided into 4 categories for your Yuletide pleasure.
So, without further ado, silver up those bells, light the multicolored lights, and go out and build a snowman. And join us as we get into some seasonal shenanigans.
Yay!
And tonight we're unwrapping our first Christmas special of the season, Olaf's Frozen Adventure.
Woo!
Oh boy! All right, Dragon. Let's just address the elephant in the room right now. I'm gonna keep my thesis short and simple. All right. This is a very well done holiday short. If I'm being honest with you, it's charming. It's got good music to it. It's got good animation to it. It maintains the Christmas spirit very well. It's a nice continuation for all the characters in the movie. To get the elephant out of the room right now, it absolutely should have never been put in front of Coco.
Yep.
And that's where all the bad vibes of this project come from. The ill-fated decision to put this movie in front of Coco. That's it, Dragon. It's such a bizarre circumstance because on a whole, I do legitimately feel like it's a pretty decent short film. It's not, it's not mind-blowing by any means. I'm not sitting here saying it's going to replace Mickey's Christmas Carol in my roster of Disney Christmas specials by any means, but it's very solid, Dragon. It's very solid. I just think it's really unfortunate that it had the misfortune to exist primarily as kind of like an antagonizing, like, oh, you want to fucking eat your dessert, then you're gonna have to fucking eat your vegetables, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Our vegetables.
Aggressive, but I know what you mean.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you'll get into that stuff with the backstory, but it's just this movie has such a weird kind of reaction to the fan base. I feel like most Disney fans out there, they refuse to even give this movie a second chance because, it's the combination of the whole 20 minutes before Coco thing, and then also the whole Frozen being kind of overexposed to begin with. It's just kind of like this perfect storm of just not being something good for the fan base in general. But on its own, it's pretty good. Although, Dragon, I will say, if they want to slap a 20-minute Coco short in front of Frozen 2, I think that'd be a good way to kind of balance out the scales a bit. Just saying.
Yeah, it would be. I guess it would be justice if you think of it that way.
All right.
Yeah. Well, for me, so I was very excited for this Christmas special for Frozen. I remember when it was announced. They did this. Little kind of making of Frozen featurette that came on ABC around the holiday season. It came around at some point during the year. I don't know if it was during the same. I don't know. I think it was the year before Coco. I think it was 2016 when they announced this. I think, not entirely sure, but because it would have taken some time to comprise this. But I remember they announced this. They announced this during like a little making of Frozen, like the big announcement at the very end of it. They were doing a Christmas special, which because I know this because you and I previously on either I think it was Christmas in July. I think we had done a pitch for a Frozen Christmas special.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
So obviously, I had some vested interest because I'm a big advocate of Frozen. I love that movie. I thought I get a kick out of it. I think it's delightful. I really do. And
I got to tell you, Dragon, I'm on a bit of a Frozen high myself coming back from Disney World because I like the Frozen attraction a lot more than I liked it the first time. I got a chance to ride it about 4 times in Florida this trip, And also, surprisingly, I really enjoyed the Frozen sing along at Hollywood Studios. So, I'm kind of more reinvigorated with the Frozen franchise these days.
Yeah. So, but I remember when it was announced though, because I'd seen the Frozen Fever short that they did. That was before Cinderella, which is why I saw that movie, by the way, purely for that Frozen short at the top of it.
I
Basically,
gotta tell you, Frozen Fever is. I don't think Frozen Fever necessarily holds up. Like,
I don't
Frozen
know it.
to me kind of reeks of okay, we've got to market a new song and we've got to market like, hey kids, here's Elsa in a new dress, buy the toy.
I don't disagree that you do have those marketing components there, but still, it's nice. It's like
Frozen Adventure, it's like I said, it's ill-fated that they put it up in front of Frozen, or up in front of Coco, I mean. But still, it's by all intents and purposes, for what it is, um it's a pretty darn respectable project.
yes, yes. And what I'm saying is, I remember when they announced this initially, I was thinking it's gonna be like another 5 minutes short, like Frozen Fever, and then I was like, oh my god, 22 minutes, hooray! And I'm expecting to be on TV like the Toy Store that time forgot Christmas special they did uh, around that time as well, and then I learned that it's going to be in front of Coco and that whole thing, which we'll get to momentarily. But on the whole, I mean, I got a lot of love for Frozen. I was very on board for this from the moment it was announced, and of course the Coco pairing was quite unfortunate, and it's definitely didn't belong there. But all the same. It was like, not only do I get an excellent Pixar movie, but I also get my Frozen Christmas special. Hooray for me! But then I was really bummed out when I learned, like, again, everything. Here's the thing: everything eventually worked itself out. So, I mean, yes, it was unfortunate, and yes, I think Tiki, you're speaking to the longevity of the effect of it, which is unfortunate, really. At the end of the day, I was like, oh man, if anyone wants to see this, you're gonna have to see the movie, which they should be seeing Coco anyway, so it's kind of a win-win there. But still, it's like a 20-minute delay, and I knew when this was announced, like, you're gonna have the kids in the theaters gonna be going, like, you usually have those kids with the Pixar shorts at the start of the movie, where like, where's Nemo? Where's the
I mean, my favorite example of that, I told you this story before, but when I went to go see Inside Out and the credits rolled on Lava, there was a dad that was sitting next to me, and he literally pulled a fake out where he was like, "All right, kids, let's go. That was a shorter movie than I was expecting, I guess." And you could tell that this was the first time the kids were going to see a Pixar movie, and I'm sure the dad even like started to get out of his seat. He was really like faking them out.
Exactly, and like every time you see a Pixar movie,
That was sure a
like,
lot different from the trailer.
exactly. You always wonder, like, when going to movie, you're wondering if like someone's going into a Pixar film or Disney film, they have the shorts in front, like those kids are going to be already they're contending with the 5 minute thing, and I envy the parents who have to explain the difference between the short and the movie. And of course, 20 minutes, I was sure, like, oh boy, there's gonna be a lot of confusion when this movie hits with the young ones in the audience. And lo and behold, that did happen. It was so definitely.
Greg, it's funny. I kind of like in the audience I saw it with, because as you know, I saw Coco like 6 times in theaters. Granted, 3 of those times were after this got pulled, But the 3 times that I saw it, I feel like the audience with the kids was like really mixed. Like half of the kids were kind of stoked to see Frozen, and the other half was like, "What the fuck is this shit?"
Hmm. So at the end of the day, I think things worked out because they realized the following that in the same year they put it on TV around the holidays, which is where it was supposed to be in the first place. So things kind of worked out in the end, I guess. But again, now
It's literally 22 minutes. That's what drives me crazy. It's like you can tell it was made to be a TV thing.
precisely. So at the end of the day, I guess it kind of worked. It took them a really long time to put it on DVD. I'll say that much. I know it's only been a year, but I mean, still took them long enough to do that.
And just to rant about that DVD release for a second, it's on DVD with a collection of other shorts, and most of the other shorts are all winter themed, except for one at the very end, which is Pluto's Christmas Tree, which is a good short. It's a good classic Christmas short. It's got Chip and Dale messing with Pluto as he's trying to decorate a Christmas tree. Fun stuff. Draken, where the hell is Prep and Landian?
So let me use that as a segue, if I may.
Okay.
So let me get to the background. There's not a lot. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of background on this, and at the very least, I don't have the DVD, so I don't know if there are any features telling us about the background quite yet. Because if I'm inferring it correctly, I want to say that Amazon, one of the reasons, because this thing was released in November, but I believe me, I've been looking out for this thing, but I could not find it in November because if I'm understanding it correctly, I think it sold out in November. And that's why that basically Amazon had to re-put it on order so you could get it. So you have to wait till it to be basically restocked at Amazon to get it. I think that's what happened, but I'm not entirely sure. So I think this thing has been selling well, but it's like it was so under the radar that it sold out instantly. I don't know. It's kind of strange. But
Uh,
point so I don't know all the background of making this, but what I could find is this. So interestingly, the same directors of Prep and Landing did this movie, did this short. Kevin
Again,
Dieters
why
and
the hell did they pair it together with Prep and Landing on DVD? It makes no sense.
which is insane. I guess they had some sort of coda about like we can't have another 22 minutes short. It's got to be like 5 minutes and under, so we don't overshadow the other 22 minutes short on the disc. I guess what
I
logic
guess
that
so,
makes.
yeah.
What logic that makes. It gets like a synergy thing of no, we can't. We need if we're going to sell it for this amount of money, we can't have an equal amount of runtime for the rest of the shorts. Otherwise, we'd have to up the price. I don't know. It's some sort of ridiculous logic like that. I guess. Let's not reward the
Uh-huh.
consumer. I don't know. The point is, we had Kevin Dieters and we had Stevie Wormers, who both co-directed Prep and Landing, and they also co-directed this. We had Jal Schaefer working on this. I think it might be. Oh, sorry, Jack. I'm sorry, I misread my own handwriting there, folks. Jack Schaefer, who was writing Captain Marvel. So that's kind of interesting. The writer of Captain Marvel, the Marvel movie coming out next year, wrote this. Fun fact. And of course, so I imagine basically they've been, I think their A units essentially been working on Frozen 2. It's been really kind of comprising all the main people working on Frozen, which is why we don't have any Frozen directors working on this. And I'm getting a sense that if Disney intends on doing more holiday related shorts on television, they're going to go to Kevin Dieters and Steve Wormers to kind of do that, and that's why they had their kind of their TV unit working on this. And production again, I think the animation, everything holds up to snuff with like the quality of the movie. So I think they're really on point, even with kind of a TV staff, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And of course, we already spoke
Yeah.
to the Coco.
Disney and Pixar have been upping their game with the TV Christmas specials department because we got of course we got Toy Story That Time Forgot. We got the Prep and Landing films, really good high quality stuff that the animation is very much on point with what you'd see in theaters.
Absolutely. And of course, we already spoke to the Coco controversy. I don't think there's really any more we really need to add. Just they made an ill-fated decision.
It was just a bad move, man. It was just a bad move.
And I think the only thing we haven't touched on is that they definitely heard the end of it, where people showing up for Coco, and it really felt like they undercut the importance of what Coco is about by kind of having a Christmas short in front of it. That one is not even Pixar animated, and two is a movie that's not even going to come out till 2019.
Uh-huh.
Just all around just feels very it was a miscalculation on Disney's part. Let's try to cross pollinate. Let's see what happens there, and just did not work out well for anyone.
Well, again, it's one of those things where it's like Disney and Pixar together. It's like it's a little unnatural on the big screen.
Yep. Anyway, so yeah, that's all the background we can really kind of muster for this. But all that said, let's dive right into it now, folks. We're gonna address this one beat by beat because it's special. We want to make it. We wanted to talk about Olaf's Frozen Adventure the year it came out. We did. We wanted to, but we held off on it so we could kind of get a better kind of play-by-play like we can now. And because before we'd be going off of it from memory from seeing it in the theater a month earlier. So now we can kind of go frame by frame and kind of talk about it, if you will.
All right, but keep in mind, Dragon, we only have about 45 minutes.
Well, you know what I mean. I don't mean literally frame by frame. I mean beat by beat. But
yeah. Yeah. So let's do this in a timely manner. I think we can get it done. A lot of it is songs, which are going to go by fast.
Of course, like we're not exactly in the musical business here, so we're not going to. Anyway, yes. Let's Okay, so it's Christmas in Arendelle. It's Christmas in Arendelle. The castle's being decorated for a big old party, and we have this running gag of not yet Olaf.
Which I gotta tell you, Dragon, not a great way to start off because it kind of paints Olaf in a bit of an obnoxious light for me personally.
It does, but a part of me
Like, all right,
wonders.
doesn't the snowman get the fucking hint?
Well, again, remember, he's a snowman without a brain. That's the gag,
Yeah, well,
Anyway, but Olaf is very eager. He's just shouting surprise, and it's like not yet, Olaf. And this is running gag every time he's just trying to say uh, surprise. And I wonder if there's a part of it just kind of addressing that. Yeah, for anyone who's not a fan of Olaf, we're going to kind of address at the top here. And we're going to win you over to him with like what his holiday motive is for the whole thing. So I think there's a bit of self awareness at the top of this. I think. So they're decorating the trees, like while he pops out of the trees, like in the knight's armor, and then we have this really funny, again, kind of a meta gag here. We have a guy with like an Olaf-shaped gift, and you imagine is Olaf in a Christmas package, and we reveal no, it's a misdirect. Olaf's just right behind the guy. How fun!
then we see Anna kind of marveling at a really delicious looking giant like layered cake.
Yeah, it's like this big old fancy pastry cake. It's really
Olaf pops out of it. Dragon, I gotta tell you, one of my favorite. Again, we'll get more into this when we do the trip report part eventually. But one of my favorite food spots in Disney World ended up being the Norwegian bakery that's right next to the Frozen ride in Epcot. And let me tell you, man, those Norwegian folks, they know how to do a good dessert.
Yep, you better believe it. So let's see. So we have the sisters kind of enter here, and we have they're in their winter regalia because again, they really do like to kind of put them in something nice. And you know what? Yes, I know there's a bit of marketing in there, but what?
But this is far less offensive to me than Frozen Fever because it's like in Frozen Fever, she just literally changes her dress for the hell of it. It's like at least with this, it's like it's kind of like the Belle costume, which again, kind of a teaser for something else we'll get to, but. It's like the Belle Christmas costume. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's marketing, but at the same time, it makes logical sense that you put another outfit for the cold weather.
Yeah, it does. It's a fancy Christmas ball. It's a fancy Christmas party, so she wants to kind of dress up a little bit. But even regardless, just for all the fashion, I always love the fashion in Frozen. I think they're really well designed. I don't know. I always loved it. Like the dress design's always been nice on Anna and Elsa. It looks really good. So she's coming down and she's using her ice powers to make tinsel and kind of make the decorations and everything, kind of make ice versions, like kind of an icy tinsel design, like really nice, kind of little small details there. So the idea is to summarize a little bit here. This is the first Christmas celebration since the gates have been opened up again after the events of the first Frozen film. And then we begin one of the first musical numbers, Ring in the Season, which is all about the Yule Bell. And basically then explain to Olaf what the heck the whole Yule Bell thing's about. So in this song, we establish the ceremony where they ring in the season quite literally with this giant thing called a Yule Bell, which, all the people gather around. When this bell rings, it means, hey, it's the Christmas season. Let's, everybody get to your traditions and such. It says ring in the season. Ha ha ha. Olaf's nicely dressed as a little bow tie, which is kind of a setup later on where they kind of pull a thing from a reef. They're inviting all the townspeople. Let's see. Oh yes, they have this little thing where they have this really nice, again, delicious pastries. I mean, they know how to animate pastries.
The giant gingerbread castle.
Yeah, the gingerbread Arendelle castle. Yeah, it looks great. And we homage. They kind of have like a very subtle. I love they went really subtle with the "Let It Go" reference here. If you really pay attention, like they reference one of my favorite songs from Frozen. It's all for the first time in forever. And then Elsa says something that is she doesn't say like "Let It Go." It's not on the nose, but they use like a similar music cue from "Let It Go" in the song for a line, which is quite clever. I felt. So anyway, so they're doing all sorts of stuff like that. Outside, Kristoff and Sven arrive with the Yule bells. I got to tell you, the only line that I don't know why it just sounds wrong to me is, "Oh look, it's Kristoff and Sven and the Yule bell." It just sounds awful. I don't know what it is. It's like that to me feels like
kind of like exposition heavy a little bit.
Yeah. It feels like the only thing that feels like mandated. Like we have to. It feels like we have to reintroduce Kristoff and Sven spell out for anyone because everybody knows who Anna and Elsa is. For some reason, anyone.
Of course, yeah.
it's like the only thing going back in this whole, like, the only criticism I have really for this whole thing is that the first act does not hold up as well as the other two, to my recollection from when I first saw this thing. It's like the first act feels like, it's solid, it's fine, but it's like doesn't feel as like, I think Act Two is when the thing really comes alive. After we set up the premise in Act One.
I honestly, I've never put any thought into distinguishing the acts in this thing.
Well, Act One, the problem. Act Two, Olaf doing stuff, and Act Three, the big stuff. Okay, anyway.
Gotcha.
Okay, so they're hoisting up the Yule Bell. They ring it. Nice build up to it. Like, again, musically, I like the
It
build.
is, and I do like the scale of the crowd shots. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. All right, so now Olaf, surprise! Olaf saying surprise, but they're all going home to prepare for their own holiday traditions. Like they're rolling.
Oh, the surprise is that everyone left.
Olaf with a good line there. So like they're all doing their traditions, like rolling Valeska, like they're making stuff, they're sewing, they're knitting socks and everything. Then Olaf makes something up like I gotta like a Gringalaka or something. So he just makes up this complete nonsense thing. That's a thing, right? It's just
to quote Gareth, that's not a thing.
God, I love that. I'm sorry. Every time I think of Gareth, I love that. That's my favorite Gareth line in all of Gareth.
That's not a thing.
Oh boy! Some people may think we're making up a tangent there, but you'll see. All right, so then we have Mr. and Mrs. Olsen here, and Mr. and Mrs. Olsen explain they're going to knit socks for their grandchildren.
I love the design of Mr. and Mrs. Olsen. They feel like straight out of Dickens.
They do. They feel like lived-in old people. I know that sounds strange, but they do feel like authentic elderly folks in Disney. It just feels like yeah. All right, so they don't want to intrude on an else's traditions, and of course, then we have Kristoff and Sven trying to brighten up everybody's day here. It says, "Oh, I know I know how to cheer you guys up." So good, little nice moment, Kristoff here. Then followed by like a reason Act One is not my favorite part of this.
Lucky the Christmas troll.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the other thing. That's the one other thing in Act One I'm really not crazy about. So Kristoff
kind of drags the whole pace of the thing down in general.
Honestly, I like Kristoff as much as the next guy, but especially after Once Upon a Time. I think Kristoff was really good in Once Upon a Time. But Kristoff kind of drops the ball on this thing. He really does. Really think about it because Kristoff tries to.
Well, the one bit I like with Kristoff is the reindeer talk, just because I find the reindeer talk with him in general to be hilarious. But yeah, you're not wrong. You're not, characterization wise, it's not very flattering.
Basically, we overcompensated with Kristoff here in Act One. We're doing the Ballad of Flemingrad, where Olaf's Olaf's playing his arm like a flute, which is quite funny too in this song. It's a little ballad going on here.
I do like how Sven kind of stomps along to the music. That's nice. That's a nice touch.
Right, he does. It's a good catch.
Yeah.
So we have Flimmy the Fungus. Basically, they reveal Flimmy the fungus troll statue, who's basically kind of this almost like this tribute of a statue they made out of like gunk and stuff from I guess the woods. And basically in the shape of a troll, and the idea is like you lick the troll's grass covered top, make a wish as Kristoff does, and it looks it's a gross out gag, which is not. Why do we have that frozen? That's my real question. He licks the top of the troll. Again, he's a mountain man. All right, let's not over. He's not a slob. All right, why we mountain man who doesn't bathe? That's one thing versus the man's licking stone and grass. And like here's the thing I do like about it, though. I kind of like it. Tiki, I tell you, it's been years since Frozen's come out. I keep finding myself. I loved Anna when Frozen started, and I still do love the Anna character. But I gotta tell you, Elsa has continued to grow on me as the years have gone on. I love giving Elsa more and more personality. Like seeing Elsa, like she almost loses her lunch at this, and then Elsa's like trying to be polite to Kristoff. You're like, these are the bits I kind of live for with the Elsa character, where she's. Like Olaf has this hilarious line to Anna. Says, "You're a princess. You don't have to sell for this." We're basically speaking what the audience is thinking right now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kristoff's about to make this disgusting stew made from the weird forest stuff that's been comprised of the statue. And then again, like the pleasant denial from Elsa here, which is, had a big breakfast. I'll pass on that. It's like, yeah, she's being polite, even though he's just being completely disgusting in this scene. That, again, it's nice to see the humanity come from our closed off ice queen, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice. Okay, so Olaf, he's eager to hear about Anna and Elsa's traditions, which leads to the big question of the whole thing.
Yes, yes. So Elsa kind of sings a sad reprise of the song that we just heard, basically kind of summarizing, like, they would ring the bell for all of Arendelle, but what was their tradition? The bell was for the kingdom, but it wasn't for them necessarily.
Yeah, they got nothing. And Elsa blames herself. Elsa's like, Anna's like, what traditions do we have? Sings a song, realizes, oh my god, we don't have any more lyrics left. I got nothing. Like, oh no. And anyway, she blames herself, and I love the symbolic. And rewatching, I did pick up on a few things. I really remind you of a few. You better, it's like an annual thing. I watched this like last Christmas, so I DVR'd it just in case, and I've been waiting for the holidays to rewatch this. So rewatched it, and I love the imagery of Elsa. She blames herself. She walks out of the room and she closes the door, which, of course, the closed door between sisters is a huge, prolific symbol of what Frozen is. The two sisters having been closed off for years. And whenever that happens, it means something. I really like that we kind of called that back in a way that kind of had dramatic heft, but it wasn't like I don't think it was spelling it out, but I felt it was like a natural way. Like we said, the door closed between them. So Olaf gets an idea. He's a snowman on a mission, darn it. Olaf's on a mission to find traditions for Anna and Elsa with the help of his trusty reindeer companion or associate, his trusty reindeer associate, Sven.
Are you with me? Sven just like knocks his arm out of his.
Yeah, in a high five motion.
Like, ow!
So they take Kristoff's sleigh, and then they're off. So they're off. Then we have this great montage that turns into a really great song. Oh, they have a door-to-door. I just love
this is by far the best stuff in the whole short. I'm sure you agree, right?
Yeah, the best animated segment, most assured. Like, it's definitely the best montage. The whole thing is just great. You're right. We have this door-to-door tradition survey. It's like it's literally I have like a traveling snowman, kind of like going door to door asking like about people's traditions. Like this tradition survey begins. And I just love, and I do like the world building here, Tiki. And this is the world building that this and Frozen Fever have made me really excited each time till we get to Frozen 2, because I want to see what the world's going to be like in Frozen 2. Because we have the snow minis all held up in Elsa's castle with Marshmallow, and we have Olaf as a public figure here. People know Olaf. We're like the kids, like they have this mother and this mother and son, and like mother and kid here, and the kids like the kids like any of the kids watching Frozen, like, oh yeah, it's Olaf. He's just this beloved neighborly snowman. Like he's just everyone likes Olaf. It's like kind of reflective of the fan base. So hi Olaf, let me finish. My name's Olaf, and I like warm hugs.
All right, so this family's tradition is making candy canes. Olaf sticks a candy cane up his nose and gets basically a psychedelic sugar rush.
Which is a great, one of the great images of this too for Olaf's Frozen is that candy cane for a nose. I have a snow globe of this. Because I just love this
really
this idea.
Nice.
I love this. I was at the Disney stores. I had a little Olaf with the candy cane in his nose. And I think they make plush things of this too, which is really neat.
I would get that.
It's a good plush too. It's I think they have him like in the scarf. It's basically what we have with him at the very end, the scarf and the thing. It's really cool. Anyway, but yeah, it's a great kind of image. Like summarizes, it's something Christmassy with Olaf with a snowman. So it's very befitting. Then we have the song "That Time of Year." That time of year is this tremendous little number that it basically keeps amping itself up in the best of ways. It's this delightful little holiday tradition montage where Olaf's going door to door. We see very diverse traditions and tropes and kind of holiday things. And again, I love that we didn't just like stick to Christmas. We went all over the place and we saw various permutations of Christmas, various kind of like this is what you and I live for when we do Christmas in July. Like all the little tropes and such. The mistletoe under the microscope and such. This is what we live for in that. So we kind of got a whole musical number attached to that here. Where let's see, it's to summarize some of the good ones here. We have like people making hanging holly. We have like the giant cookie in the shape of Norway,
which exists like exclusively to justify why the Frozen attraction is in Norway. I think.
We have caroling. We see this family hiding from the carolers, a very universal experience. You're hiding from the carolers outside. Oh, they're hanging socks above the fire, which Olaf gives pause. And this is like great comedy of Olaf, where Olaf always has this great irony about him, where he just voices the very irresponsible thing and just lets the audience stew on it. Like, yeah, we really didn't think that one through, did we? Letting kids hang very flammable socks above the roaring fire. We really didn't think that one through. And entice them with, hey, fruits and nuts and toys are in this little stocking. Just come by the roaring fire, kids. It's nothing but safe. Anyway, so let's see. So then we have there's a lot of stuff here, folks.
The fruitcake, the ship with the flotsam and jetsam,
the solstice. We
hiding presents.
Yep. Let's see. We talk about Santa and the chimney, and it says breaking and entering on on Christmas. And I love he has like kind of a cops and robbers thing with the ash and the soot that's falling on his face. Looks kind of nice. Indicative of a
and then my favorite one, Dragon, probably the best gag in this whole thing. Hold on, let me get the full line here. Sorry. Sorry. Just want to make sure I get this right word for word.
A fun fact about the fruitcakes: it's a running gag. The prep and landing guys they love fruitcake comedy, and that's why they put a fruitcake as a kind of a big centerpiece in the special. By the way, it's their signature of holiday specials. They love fruitcake.
I had a fruitcake cocktail at Hollywood Studios, and believe it or not, it was actually delicious.
Really?
And it genuinely tasted like fruitcake too. It even had a fruitcake trim to it.
I wonder if they just found some way to squeeze a mini fruitcake or something. Just gonna ring it out.
All right, so I got the line, Dragon. The line is, you cut down a tree and then you dress its corpse with candles. Kid's like whimpering, and then the wife just like knocks this poor guy over the head. I love it!
Oh, so there were like dreidels earlier on too. Just thinking, there's all sorts of. I just want to highlight
dreidels, menorahs.
Yeah, I just love how inclusive they're being with all the traditions and the solstice too. Again, they're like the whole. There's this the whole. When you wear the little crown, where you wear like the holly crown too. It's like that thing.
And then it really amps up. We get the sweater animation, which I know you and I both love.
Yeah, this is my favorite image of the whole thing. I love basically we have this big money. She's like, what I love about this song is that again, I think all the songs in this, specifically this one, they do have a thing where they amp it up to like they have a crescendo built into the song. They amp it up to like the high of highs, the 1001, 1002 moment, and it's right here. And visually, it matches up to the musical quality of it. Where we have this money shot crescendo of Olaf as knitwear. It's either knitwear or like one of those beaded patterns, like when you hang like a little decoration, like a beaded snowman pattern, which I have at my grandmother's house around the holidays. It's a nice thing. So the point is like this beautiful looking pattern of Olaf, so confident in having gotten Anna and Elsa all the traditions they'll ever need. And while visually this is great, I love that it's Olaf visualizing. Again, it's Olaf with an ego about him, but still an ego coming from a good place here, where it just keeps going and it keeps scrolling down with this pattern. And we see like Anna and Elsa like kind of crying at the altar of Olaf, who has saved them from their holiday depression. Again, it just gets so beautifully overblown, and I love it. It's just we see him like in a sleigh with the help of his steed. Anna and Elsa are crying at the mythic scale of what Olaf has done here, of this mythical. This great mythic thing where like they're praying in thanks to a snowman. It's insane, but it's so great. And then we have the chorus. Oh my God, we have the chorus of for you to you, and we have the Olaf saying me, and then we reveal multiple Olafs in this knitwear. It's just still all knitwear. Of this chorus of various Olafs, and then earlier on we had kittens in knitwear and mittens and everything. So we have kittens in sweaters popping up during the thing, and then we bring it all to a close here with all the various holiday greetings, followed by and the Christmas kittens and everything builds to this whole happy Meli Kaliki Maka holiday, holly jolly happy taffy chubby will soon chubby men will soon appear, fightful friends, a tiny deer. doing like a
Can I
little.
leave this fruitcake here?
Yes, can I leave this fruitcake in the bathroom stall? Festive tidings, midnight clear. His little cute gag with the Olaf with the mistletoe, and then I'm sorry. Then can we leave this fruitcake here?
We
And
also get the kittens with the sweaters kind of following him.
yeah, so all of this is just it's great, it's insane, and I love it. It's just like how it just keeps building and building, getting more. It's the most Christmassy thing you've ever seen, and I love it. It's delightful.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
All right, so Olaf's last stop is to an old friend,
Yoo-hoo!
Oaken.
Drake, do you know about Oaken in the queue for Frozen?
Yes, I do.
Okay, okay, just wondering.
So we have Oaken, who's by the way
It's
voiced
great
by
because he's literally like drawing with the steam on his window with his finger.
yeah. Little fun fact: the Oaken is voiced by Chris Williams, who's the director of Bolt and Big Hero 6.
Nice, nice.
All right, so you know he's asking Oaken what he does, and you know, yoo-hoo, hello, ooh. Just Olaf is responding to Oaken. There's a funny interaction right there. He enjoys a Christmas fits with his family, and he says, "How are you enjoying your Christmas fits, inquisitive magic snowman?"
I remember that's one of the lines that really got my theater roaring every time I saw this. Like even the people who weren't thrilled about this.
Yeah, it is.
Inquisitive magic snowman.
God, it's funny. So it's a Christmas in a sauna. Oaken and his family, they're all just kind of in a sauna having a good old time. You know, they're a sauna bunch. You know, you don't really see that all that often, but I think it's a
You know what, Dragon? I'm just gonna come out with it. You know, forget Josh Gad LeFou. Oaken is the first openly gay Disney character, as far as I'm concerned, and I love it.
How official is that, by the way? Because I like how much are, I think it's implied. I don't know, how official is that?
I mean, it's definitely implied.
I know that's the thing because I mean that's the thing. I mean, he has I've seen you know they're the I think I don't know if he has a wife or they're just his kids or what. I don't know what the deal is with that. But I mean, like you said, like there's a number of people. And it's an extended family in the sauna. Weird.
Well, he's got the extended family in the sauna, and there's the one adult man, and there's no adult woman. So you know, and
I think you're right. I'm just saying I never I always I've heard about this. I've never really seen how official it was. But I mean, I'll take your word for it. Sure.
I mean, to be honest with you, it's more official than fucking Josh Gad dancing with another dude for like half a second at the end of a movie.
All right. Anyway, so Oaken stuff aside, regardless, just anyway. So he says, "Oh, you can just feel my troubles melting away," and Olaf he melts into a bucket, which is just. And again, it's the great comedy of Olaf, just the snowman who loves summer and all things hot, but again, he's a snowman, therefore he will melt. But thanks to Elsa, Olaf basically has a frosty effect about him, where again, all he needs is to be kissed by like a kind of a cold winter breeze, and he'll be back to normal. Literally pulls a Frost. I wonder if they looked at Frost the Snowman for that idea because you know Oaken basically tosses the bucket out, and you know Olaf's back.
Yeah, I remember this was like one of the cool like again you speak to the world building in Frozen. This was kind of one of the cool like rule additions to this world.
Yeah, where the idea is that Olaf isn't followed around by the cloud anymore, but the effect still maintains. You know, where he is just he can survive in hot weather.
Uh-huh.
So, of course, in hindsight, the Schwitz may not be right for those made of snow. And, of course, the water to ice gag, which, again, I gotta tell you, it's a good effect, though, of the snowman in ice in computer animation. It looks really good.
Uh-huh.
He gives Olaf, like kind of like a porta potty sized sauna. Olaf's asking for a towel, which leads to, again, another gag I'm really
this is the one gag I'm not crazy about, I agree.
Yeah, it's a weird one where basically Oaken says, "Can I have what?" I was asking for like one of those festive, like kind of wandering Oaken themed towels. And says, "Oh, why don't you take mine?" And we have this really weird guy where he basically throws the towel that he's wearing. It's obscure, thank God. Everything's obscure, but I didn't really need Olaf saying, "Oh, it's warm."
Yeah, I could leave that. I could definitely leave that.
Yes. To the point, it's kind of a weird. Oaken's an interesting, sometimes weird character, but he's an interesting guy to say the least. Anyway, moving on. So Olaf and Sven, they're returning victorious. until Olaf just kind of his celebratory kind of like, oh boy, I've gotten all the traditions I need. He's playing around with the towel, accidentally opens the stall, which hot coal catches these little hay reindeer on fire. Which point is chaos breaks out by accident. Olaf completely unaware, almost Peter Sellers like in how unaware he is right now.
Oh, look, another reindeer going in the opposite direction.
It's basically like the like an axe has fallen and like Sven's harness is like cut in half. So right now like Olaf's being they're both tethered by it's basically I rewatching Tiki, especially when we covered the Grinch for this. I think it's a light reference to the Grinch how this scene kind of transpires, like the reindeer kind of hooked by this one rope.
Yeah,
As the sled's going wild here, because Sven's like realizing, oh my god, I'm tethered to this insane oblivious snowman. Oh my god. So let's see. So then they're basically Grinch style. They're being dragged down this wild slide down a mountain. Sven, let's see. So Olaf, completely oblivious. We're making really good time. So going all there. Let's see. So, I'm sorry. They're slaying down the mountain, and Olaf and Sven get separated. Oh yes, I remember I was going to say that. So we reach the same gap, and I like this too. It's kind of a thing in computer animation. Whenever they do a holiday special or a TV special, you'll notice it's a budgetary thing. I'm sure. I'm not 100%, but it makes logical sense that when you do something like this based on a popular movie, you're going to use the same sets as much as you can because it's a little cheaper. Because basically, it's the same locations that we had from Frozen, where again, like they're split over this gulch, over this kind of this gap between mountains, between cliff sides, and it's the same place where Kristoff's sled in the first movie kind of wrecked. And ironically, his new sled that he got at the end of Frozen is also wrecked now, thanks to this. Caught on fire, says, "Oh, it's not so bad." Explodes. Oh, darn it. Or Olaf. So again, all of
when I saw the Frozen sing along show Dragon, they had a really funny cutaway to that.
Huh. Let's see. So again, Olaf and Sven have been separated. Meanwhile, come back to the sisters. Elsa's looking for Anna to apologize for what happened earlier. Didn't mean to bring the mood down. That sort of stuff. She then hears a noise, which leads to the attic, which I didn't know they had an attic in the castle, but they have an attic in the castle. Go figure. So they go to the attic.
World building, Dragon. World building.
Hey, I'm down for it. Okay, they got an attic. So we're going to the attic. Anna's looking for traditions in the attic, and again, Anna being proactive, good for her. And again, it's kind of what I love about the Anna character, her being kind of all nice, proactive, kind of being a hobbyist, as she was in the first movie, world building, certainly. Anna has found her childhood stuff, like her Viking helmet, her sorcerer's cloak, and her dragon feet, which are mittens, which kind of just like adorable little thing. It's really, again, it's Kirsten Bell's bringing that adorable kind of imaginative charm to the Anna character. Top marks, really good stuff. Asking what's in the other trunk, and we see Elsa has a trunk up there. Says, what do you have in there? Says, oh, probably just mostly gloves. Oh yeah, right.
Oh, sure, right. Rose of satin gloves.
Opens up. That's exactly what's in there. It was just kind of sad. Again, I love this, Tiki. This is what really gets me on a rewatch. Is that I love that it's a gag with a dramatic punch and a reminder that this poor girl, all she had growing up was her powers on her mind, which is what these gloves are indicative and representative of. Like the only thing that she had. Was again, it's a cute little gag where she had this little plush toy called Sir Jorgen Bjorgen. It's like this little stuffed penguin puffing.
I'm surprised they haven't marketed this thing, Dragon.
It's cute. I really liked it. And I love them. That's the thing, because Elsa, again, basically kind of the married life equivalent. It's not married life by any stretch, but I'm just like the example of an opening montage that communicates a lot of story and a lot of trauma. What we have in the first Frozen movie. You see the life that Elsa had led for herself, being kind of divided from her sister, but divided by her own, an isolation by her own means.
Oh,
I love that with Sir Jorgen Bjorgen, and she has this really heartbreakingly sad line. She says he was a really good listener. All she had was Sir Jorgen Bjorgen here, and again, it's a cute little she had all these all these gloves and this stuffed toy that you could tell her problems to. And it's like it's so sad, but it's so kind of cute at the same time.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. So Elsa's question, like, how are we? Like, she doesn't think they're going to find any. I don't think you're going to find any traditions up here. And then they happen upon a box that, very interestingly,
what's in the box?
In a manner of speaking, yes. Essentially, that's Elsa had another thing in her box full of gloves, which is a box right under Sir Jorgen Bjorgen. That was a box full of something that we, the audience, don't see quite yet, but it's going to be something really magical and wonderful. It's going to make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. We're going to get there momentarily. Cutting back to the action with our beloved snowman protagonist in this here. So Olaf. Olaf's dealing with this setback. Okay, Sven, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Kind of in a pickle here. I'm going to go back there. I'm going to cut through this little forest here. He did not watch Finding Nemo. He did not learn that you never go through the trench. Bad trench or bad dark forest. Beauty and the Beast or Nemo will tell you that lesson.
Because I envy your normal life. Gun down, David. It seems that envy is my sin. Oh, what's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
I'm sorry, I had to. Go on.
Right. Anyway, if we... really undercut my Beauty and the Beast gag, but okay.
I'm so sorry.
Not like I'm trying to thread a needle or anything.
I tried to pull it up as fast as I could.
Okay, anyway. So the point is, Olaf did not learn anything from Beauty and the Beast, seeing the wolves and stuff in the dark forest. That's going to be it.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm so sorry.
Anyway.
I promise that's the last one, all right?
Okay, anyway. The point. Because I know the minute I say it again, it's going to happen. Anyway.
No, I'm good. It's closed. It's closed.
Okay, folks. Threading the needle here. Olaf did not learn anything from Beauty and the Beast. Okay, dark forest, you're going to be chased by wolves and everything. Do not go in there. So Olaf, he takes a seemingly harmless shortcut into the dark forest. And of course we hear him say, puppies, which you know. Okay, one we saw in the first Frozen, there are wolves in that forest, man. I love Antique. I love again, it's kind of an animation cheat in the grand scheme of things. They're using the same sets and locations, but it makes sense that geographically that's where they ran all the trouble with the wolves and stuff that they wouldn't.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Sven, he realizes, okay, my little snow buddy's in trouble, so I'm going to race back to Crystal.
This is probably my second favorite gag in the movie, if I'm being honest with you.
Take us through it.
All right, so Sven rushes in as Kristoff is making his stew. And I love Kristoff with the reindeer voice. Like I said, he's like, "Oh, Kristoff, you're so thoughtful. Now where's my bowl?" Let's see. So Sven put some carrots in the stew that resemble Olaf. Oh my God, Sven, you're right. Needs more carrots.
Kristoff, again, this is not really well reflective of Kristoff.
Again, I kind of feel like Kristoff died for our comedy sins in this thing. You know what I mean?
He did. He's just the guy who does the reindeer voice now. At least that again. Well, I'm hoping Frozen 2 gets does not just devolve him to this, because I mean here it's okay, but I'm just saying, I'm really hoping a full length movie we're not just going to make him just the guy who does the reindeer voice.
I hear you.
The mountain man who does the reindeer voice. I hope it's going to be a little bit more than that.
All right. So then we get to a wonderfully animated sequence of charades with Sven, like imitating Olaf and then imitating the sleigh crashing and the wolves. Just like I said, really good animation, like really fluid character stuff here.
Let me put it to you this way: the animation's so good. I still don't know how they got him to morph into Olaf so naturally and convincingly. But again, it's so weird. But it's so like, I mean, again, they're using actual space with that, but it's like, how the heck did he morph into that snowman? Do it.
And then, so Kristoff is very confused. He still doesn't get it. But then we see Anna and Elsa. Oh no! Olaf's lost in the forest, and he's being attacked by wolves. Just a great kind of Lassie moment.
Perfect. Because Anna and Elsa, they get it immediately. This is great.
Come on, Sven, make yourself useful.
Sven gives this great look of like, oh, come on, man. All right, so Olaf, he's running from wolves and importantly, I like this. Like, the idea is that Olaf, in retrospect, he probably will be fine. He's a snowman who's now indestructible thanks to Elsa. He probably would be fine, but what Olaf's concerned about, the reason he's really running, is to protect the fruitcake. Nice. The fruitcake is the embodiment of Olaf's hope. What Olaf perceives to be hope for his for his kind of his essentially his mother figure. If you really want to be metaphysical about it, Anna and Elsa are kind of the motherly figures of Olaf in some variety, in a way. It's kind of interesting. We'll get into a whole dissertation about that, but the point is, he's embodying the two people he cares about most, who are indicative of who he is. He's trying to protect the fruitcake to save them. So he's begging them to stop. Says the fate of the world depends on it. No, he literally says that, folks. I'm not just making that up. He literally says anyway. So he throws the. This is cool. I love this. This is a great thing. Again, I love what we do this with Olaf here, and it's almost like a Mr. Potato Head effect, where he throws the fruitcake and himself in pieces through like the little opening and kind of this kind of jumble of wooded area, so he can escape the wolves, and he survives, and he re-pieces himself together. And Olaf, he looks battered and beaten, and the reason is like it's like dirt in the snow, which is a good effect.
I love the scratches in the snow.
That's the thing. I love that again. Like logically, he's not bleeding, which I would have been really weird if he was bleeding or something, which they didn't do because it made no sense otherwise. But I like that how do you make a man made of snow battered and bruised and beaten? Well, you put his pieces in different areas, and you use the natural dirt that would occur in snow as like bruising, which I thought was a brilliant. Yeah, that's a great idea. I bow to the masters on that one. That's a good idea. I'm loving it.
Mm-hmm.
So the tradition is saved. He's victoriously like a football. He's just caught in the end zone. He's lifting a fruitcake up defiantly, like Turbo Man from Jingle All the Way. I've got it. He's lifting it.
By the way, Dragon, you should check out if you haven't seen it, you should check out James Rolfe. He did a recent video essay defending Jingle All the Way. I think you'd appreciate it.
Oh, definitely check that out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he holds it up in the air, and then a hawk grabs it. And then we have this beautifully, and this is Josh Gad doing a really good job here, I felt. This beautifully sad yet still optimistic moment with Olaf. He's defeated. That was going to be an oxymoron, but he's defeatedly optimistic. Where Olaf's saying, well, I guess hawks need traditions too. It's like, oh my god, he's such an uplifting snowman. Now we just kick him while he's down. Why, society? Why? So we have a sad reprise of basically of a sad reprise. Yes, of that time of year where and as Olaf's like reflecting on how we let him down, how we did not get the traditions that he learned about. He's thinking maybe I should stay lost, and we have this beautifully sad image of Olaf covered in snow, like the snowman being covered in his namesake to kind of hide himself. So meanwhile, Anna, Elsa, Kristoff, and the whole kingdom, they're all look kind of a gaslight kind of a search party looking for Olaf. Like, oh, Olaf, where are it's like the Bean Bunny moment from.
God, I love the Bean. Dragon, just to geek out for just a second here, like Muppet Vision might not be around on my next trip to Disney World, right? So I made sure to sit in the front row of Muppet Vision for the last time I saw it. And it's so cool when you're in the front row and you can see the orchestra of penguins really well. And one of the things I never noticed is how one of the penguins plays Flight of the Bumblebee on a violin as Miss Piggy's being harassed by the bee. And then, of course, Leadums comes out and he's like, oh, beauty, have you seen a bunny? Oh, it's so cool. I love that interaction, Dragon.
Right.
I'm sorry to go off on a tangent there.
No. Yeah, I got you. All right. So let's see. So they're looking for him. And I'm sorry, 1 second, Tiki. I'm noticing something a little weird. Audio from that, not audio. As I'm saying, I think we might want to the image is not coming through on the video at the moment. You might want to just kind of reshare the image that we're working with here, or lock it in or something.
Okay. All right.
Well,
hold on.
All right, folks, a little technical thing. Anyway, yeah, so here's what's happening. So again, they're all looking for him Bean Bunny style. They're all looking for that little snowman. And Anna and Elsa, and again, here's where we get into kind of the motherly thing here, where we...
How about now?
One second. Yeah, it's true. I don't know. We'll just work with it. I guess it's... we're good.
Let me go out and come back in.
No, Tiki, we got it. It's fine. Okay, now it's fine.
We're good? Okay, good. Okay,
sorry about that, folks. It was like a live thing. Anyway, we're all good now. Okay. Sorry, back on point. So, Anna and Elsa, we have this really beautiful... they're searching for Olaf, and they come across him. And this, to me, is like the most motherly scene. I don't know why, Tiki. Am I crazy saying it's sort of like a motherly moment we have here between them?
No, I can see that.
They have this thing here, and I think it's mostly what Adina...
I mean, in a way, they did kind of bring Olaf to life, so they are kind of Olaf's parents in a way.
That's what I'm saying, and they also, again, their personality traits are somewhat in Olaf to a degree, like kind of the optimism of Anna, and of course, like the birthing of Elsa with the snow and everything. So, I mean, again, I think there's definitely a motherly comparison there. I don't think I'm the first one to bring that up, but I think there's an argument to be made for it. I think mainly it comes across tonally in this scene here, where they find Olaf, and my heart keeps melting at this scene because I love this scene on rewatch, man. Where they're looking for Olaf, and they see the nose sticking out of the snow. They find him. He says, "Olaf, I'm not here." And that's where they find him. And it's like looking for the kid who ran away, and it's adorable. Just Olaf. Right. I wonder where he went to. And then, of course, we hear this. It's so sad and beautiful here. It's like he probably went on a mission to find traditions for Anna and Elsa. Did he find any? He did, but then they caught fire and fell off a cliff, and then caught fire again, and then a hawk. And again, it's just so beautiful here. Anna and Elsa, they reveal that they do have a tradition. This is where I'm like, in my heart of hearts, like, it didn't get me in the theater. It was like, in my heart, my heart's like melting. Like I'm
no, Greg, I totally agree with you. This whole resolution is excellent.
Yeah. This is where it all comes together for me here, because again, it feels like a no-brainer, but it's like it makes sense in the best of ways. Where there's only so much story you can tell without veering into, let's just tell Frozen 2. They can only do so much story-wise, but if you're gonna tell a story that feels like it could be in the middle and have substance, this is how you do it. Where we have this flashback, and again, it's like something. If you're really paying attention, you're really figuring out all the angles, you could see this coming, but you're so wrapped up in it, you don't. It hits you right in the perfect spot here, where Anna and Elsa reveal that what they had in that box were a series of...
What's the box?
Go ahead. Don't start that again.
I'm not going to play the clip, don't worry.
We have this flashback of revealing... Basically, during the whole, do you want to build a snowman segment of Frozen, Olaf brought them together and kept them together when they were apart. Because during the do you want to build a snowman reference, I love they're using that to underscore. They're not just singing the song. They're not just adding something. They're not retroactively adding anything to it, but they're just using that cue to remind you of like when this would have taken place.
Right.
Showing that every holiday season, like an annual occurrence in all the years they were apart. And but so close yet so apart. Anna would slide something indicative of Olaf, the last happy memory they had together, creating that snowman and having fun right before the accident that ruined everything in their lives. She slides something indicative of Olaf, like a card, like a little, like kind of a handmade toy or something Olaf-centric under the door. My heart melts where it's like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And these cards, these pictures, like Christmas gifts under the door, and it was like we have one of my favorite shots from Frozen, like the two of them on like the split between the doors, like really great looking. And Olaf was the reminder of the love and the childhood that they shared, that they lost. And then we have, short of this time of year, I think my favorite song, the one that's the biggest earworm for me is When We're Together. And I love the When We're Together song.
Well, I mean, to be fair, there's only 4 songs in the film, and one of them is kind of pathetic as a song, so,
True. But the point is the 2 really good songs.
Uh-huh.
I love this song. The When We're Together is the one sang by our...
Dragon, I feel like this song is going to be the reason why we're going to, just to kind of tease the does it hold up. I feel like this song specifically is why this holds up as a Christmas special, because I fucking love the holiday atmosphere in this song.
Yeah, this sequence is I think the ending of this is all perfect here, where we have like when we're together. It's a really beautiful song. We have Olaf given like this little ice tie that Elsa made, and that all the people, all the townspeople are coming together and they're giving him like a semblance of what the traditions that they gave him earlier, and they're kind of wrapping up. It's basically it's again like a little. I'm convinced we're doing these light homages to these Christmas classics. We did the frosting, we did it to the Grinch, and we do it to Charlie Brown here. Like the puny little tree in Charlie Brown Christmas. They all gather around him and they make him up in the traditions where he's covered in the scarf and the candy cane and all the stuff, like the little Charlie Brown tree.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great image, and it's all about the gift of being. It's the gift of being together, of being yourself. Essentially, is what all that's about. Let's see. So Elsa, she creates this path.
I love this path. I fucking love this path, man. I really hope they recreate this path in a Disney park somewhere.
Yeah, this is cool. She basically leads everyone back to back to the kind of this clearing, back to kind of this ice, essentially this ice path.
There's like an aurora borealis in the background.
It is, and it's great. I love it. They have this great path, and they walk through it, and they have the aurora borealis. It's basically they're under stars in the aurora borealis. That's what they're a borealis of some variety.
Mm-hmm.
And
she makes a long buffet table for everyone to set their delicious Norway treats on.
Basically, the surprise party they were trying to throw at the beginning, they're doing outside with ice and everything, something with her powers. And like we have this Olaf with the Coco game where he tries to down some Coco, and it goes to the other side of his head, which is really funny. And then and this one of the most beautiful images in the whole thing. She makes this giant tree, like the ice castle, makes this giant tree.
Dragon, this is going to be like my opportunity here. Like, I really think that Disney should make a holiday overlay of the Frozen attraction. I think it'd work really, really well, especially because the plot of the Frozen attraction is already you're being invited up to Elsa's ice palace, which is kind of the plot of this.
Yeah, I'm down for it.
I'd love to see that. I'd love to see the Frozen tree kind of recreated in theme park form.
I think it's a great idea.
You know, maybe instead of singing "Do You Want to Build a Snowman," Olaf singing "That Time of Year" in the opening scene.
Maybe it sounds good.
We could even have Flemmy the fungus troll in the troll scene.
Well, I guess in the troll scene.
Well, the only reason I suggest that is you got to give something for the trolls to do. The trolls are
right.
So
I admit you are right about that. If we're gonna do what we gotta go all the way with it. You're right.
I would say maybe for the lift hill, the lift hill where you're going up to the ice palace, instead of having the ice palace there, have the Christmas tree there. That's where you would maybe put the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Right, do a whole podcast about this.
Anyway, so the point is, with this giant tree, we have these big placards where essentially instead of ornaments, they put the kind of full size lanterns like on like a kind of a place where they hung like ornaments, which looks really good. And then we had for me with the other money shot of the whole thing, the kind of the warm and fuzzy money shot, where they put the toy Olaf into kind of like kind of an ice star. It's basically encased in ice. And when the beautiful image of the whole thing is where Elsa levitates using her ice power. She levitates Olaf, like a gust of ice essentially lifts him up.
I've gone over this before, Dragon. It's so fucking corny and simple and sentimental, but I love Olaf's reaction when he realizes that he gets to put the star on the top of the tree.
I know, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's such a magical Christmas. He kind of just like does this like gasp, he's like, oh,
Yes. I know. And so Olaf is like lifted up there, surprised, like, oh, he's lifted up to the top of the ice tree, and he puts the star
on this, Dragon, because like I said, it's so corny, but it totally works.
He puts the star on top, and he's lifted down basically when he's put down, is like right the image that we have before us here, where they're all looking at it in beauty. It's like, oh boy, it's all nice and rosy. It's a happy ending. It's all real pretty and nice, and then Anna says, I think we have a new tradition. And then as they're all warm and fuzzy and everything's all great here. And again, the fact they have a new tradition and Olaf brought them the greatest tradition of all, that one, not only is just them realizing that Olaf himself is a walking tradition, but the other fact of like them coming together doing this ice tree thing. So they have a literal tradition as well as the symbolic gesture of the tradition, which again, both of which are topped with like a little ice thing with Olaf. So again, Olaf is involved in both, vice versa. But regardless, we have all that, and the fruitcake lands. Like knocks Olaf to the ground. Says, look, it's the fruitcake. It's a Christmas.
It's the fruitcake.
It's a miracle. that's just, oh boy, it's delightful, and that's great.
All right. The Dragon. Let's ask the question: does it hold up?
I think it holds up.
I really do too, man. I think this is going to be one in my yearly rotation. Like, obviously not quite as strong as something like the original Grinch or Mickey's Christmas Carol or something like that, but it's super charming, man. It's got a lot of good Christmas atmosphere. The music is really well done. It's got a great message to it. It strikes all the right chords with me in terms of being a Christmas special. It really does. It's a nice, simple affair. The only thing that it did wrong was on a marketing level, putting it next to Frozen, but I certainly don't blame the project itself for that. Or I'm sorry, putting it next to Coco, not Frozen. My bad.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great little special. It's sweet and simple. Olaf as the through line with this really sweet resolution. It's just done perfectly. Maybe it's a little bumpy with the Kristoff stuff and just kind of the act and some of the Act 1 stuff. Just putting into play. I mean, again, it's nothing bad. I want to make it clear, there's nothing bad or like truly wrong with it. It's just like a few things like maybe it's like, yeah, could have been stronger. Like, again, Kristoff, the towel gag, stuff like that. It's like, yeah, a little. I can't even say rough around the edges. Like, yeah, no, it's like maybe like kind of a wonky looking snowflake falling. It's like one of those things. Like, yeah, it's not. Right. It's like you're looking at like, man, all these snowflakes are beautiful and diverse and different. Then we just have one that looks like Charles Nelson Riley for some reason. Like, why?
Oh God.
Anyway. So, but once it gets, here's the thing: once it gets going, it's on the money. It's truly a delight. It continues the charm of Frozen and makes me want more, which I think means it's a success. It addresses multiple holiday traditions as well. I think it's all around. Nothing really bad has come from this except for the infamy of how it was released. And you take that out of the equation.
Yeah.
But again, that's being unfair to the special itself. You look at the special itself; it's solid, and it deserves to be. Again, I think at some point the Coco stuff's going to blow over. I think it's going to be a while though, but I think at some point that's going to blow over. Then the special get kind of the attention it deserved in the first place. But it's a shame it's going to take that long for people to realize.
I mean, honestly, Dragon, even this year, I kind of feel like people are looking back on this a little bit more fondly than they are last year. I feel like every year the Coco thing is going to die down a little bit.
Hey, honestly, I think once Frozen 2 comes out, I think then it at least, if not all, I think mostly it'll all have been blown over. But I'm being optimistic with that. But I'd like to think people are going to be having basically,
No, remind me, Dragon, are we getting Frozen 2 next year?
Yes, next year. So that's what I'm saying. Like a part of me.
Dear God. Okay, let's just I'm sorry, really quick. Next year is going to be so fucking crazy for Disney movies.
It is indeed.
You got the 3 live-action remakes with The Lion King, Aladdin, and Dumbo, and then there's also the Lady and the Tramp remake with Justin Theroux as the Tramp, which I fucking love that casting.
Yeah, Justin Theroux is the Tramp?
Yeah, it's gonna be on the Disney Plus service, but yeah, Justin Theroux is the Tramp. Isn't that good casting?
That's not bad. I'll give you that.
Let's see, and then of course Infinity War or Endgame. I mean, Spider-Man: Far From Home, Captain Marvel, which I'm really not stoked for, but that's a different story. Toy
Story 4.
Toy Story 4, of course. I'm excited to see Captain Marvel. I just don't think the trailers aren't really doing much for me.
Yeah, I think the trailers are kind of killing the hype wagon on Captain Marvel, unfortunately. But I'm premise alone, I'm sold now. But again, let's not get bogged down on Captain Marvel.
Okay, but still, you get my point. Toy Story 4, Frozen 2. I mean, of course, Episode 9. Can't forget Episode 9. My God.
Yeah.
See what I mean? It's fucking massive next year. All right.
So
Dragon, to answer the question very simply, yes, I definitely think this holds up, and I do think it'll be on my regular roster for Christmas specials.
Yeah.
All right.
So I guess all that said, well, kids, it's time to dash away, dash away, dash away all. But as we wave goodbye, don't you cry. We'll be back again next time.
With even more seasonal shenanigans.
La 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 la. Bell.
You cut down a tree and then you dress its corpse in candles.
I love it.